Reckoning stars Charlotte Kirk as Grace, a young widow haunted by the recent suicide of her husband Joseph, and is falsely accused of being a witch by her landlord after she rejects his advances. This is directed by Neil Marshall, who also co-wrote the screenplay with Charlotte Kirk and Edward Evers Swindell. It premiered at Fantasia Film Festival back in the summer of 2020, before getting a VOD release in early February. And I had somewhat higher hopes for this. I've only seen two of Neil Marshall's movies, which were The Descent, which I thought was great, and Centurion, which was some solid B-movie fun, and I didn't see his reboot of Hellboy in 2019, but I heard it wasn't all that good. Now, the film's set during the time of the Great Plague, and also at the height of when witch hunts and trials were huge, and it seemed like the take the filmmakers were going for was to make a statement through a schlocky grindhouse-style lens about the horrible way in which women were treated at that time through the countless baseless false accusations made. And that's great that that's what they were going for, and I guess I'd say the film is somewhat well-intentioned, but it encounters several obstacles that really held it back from ever effectively achieving that goal. While I thought the film was well acted for what it is, with Charlotte Kirk giving by far the best performance here, Grace isn't really someone who has an arc. She's someone we definitely feel bad for given the hell she's put through, but other than just trying to get out of this witch hunt, she really doesn't have anything unique about her. We do learn that the main antagonist, Moorcroft, played by Sean Pertwee, also accused her mother of being a witch as well through a brief flashback and burned her at the stake, but that's not the driving force behind the movie. I'd also say all the villains here are pretty one-dimensional and borderline cartoonish. They're just evil, sadistic people who hit the same couple of notes over and over again, and while I get that may have been how a lot of people were at that time, from a storytelling perspective, it just doesn't make for interesting villains. And the first hour to hour and 15 minutes of the movie consist of Charlotte experiencing demonic visions that ultimately have no effect on the story, all between scenes of being beaten, assaulted, and tortured. And that's how pretty much all the major female characters in this film are either treated or referred to. Just a string of non-stop abuse for an hour and 15 minutes. And while I understand that they're trying to capture the mood of the time, there's also a problem when it's scene after scene of this stuff, and it offers nothing else of substance by constantly showing us this. It's the focus of almost the entire movie, yet you could have cut almost all of it and it wouldn't have made much of a difference to the story. Now, there's eventually a payoff in the third act where it goes into revenge thriller territory, and while there was a sense of satisfaction when the film leaned into those elements that finally made it enjoyable, the balance between the amount of time spent on torture and abuse versus the amount of time spent on the retribution felt wildly imbalanced and leaning in the wrong direction. I think had we gotten what we got in the third act way earlier, we'd be having a much different conversation here. Now, I will say, Marshall is a very competent director in terms of capturing that eerie atmosphere required of horror movies, which makes this a shame that it wasn't better than it could have been. I get he was trying to make a statement, but it ultimately leans too much into the things he was speaking out against, so it felt counterintuitive. That last act definitely saved this from getting a much lower score from me, but it's not enough to say the film's worth watching, unfortunately. The Reckoning gets a 5 out of 10. So let me know, did you see The Reckoning, or are you planning to see it, and what were your thoughts? Did you like anything about this story? Do you have a favorite Neil Marshall movie? Let me know in the comments below so we can discuss. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and share it, and for more movie reviews and film discussion, please make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Thanks for watching, everyone, and keep having fun with film.